Hey, welcome. Today we're going to tackle a massive question, one that sits at the heart of, well, everything. How do you actually know what you know? It sounds almost too simple, right? But the answer from modern cognitive science, it might just change how you see the world. So let's get into it.
So just think about this for a second. We usually walk around assuming our brains are kind of like high-def cameras, just passively recording everything, taking in the sights and sounds exactly as they happen. It feels right, it feels intuitive, but it turns out it's completely wrong. Because what the science is telling us is that your brain isn't a camera at all. Nope, it's actually much more like a projector. It's actively and constantly generating the reality you experience based on what it thinks is going to happen next. It's a pretty wild idea, so let's break down exactly how this incredible process works.
To really get this, we don't need some complicated lab experiment. We just need to look at something you probably do every single day, something that reveals your brain's secret full-time job.
Okay, imagine you're driving. Every time you approach a green light, your brain makes a tiny, totally unconscious mini prediction. It's basically saying, all right, that light's going to stay green until I'm through the intersection. You're not thinking about it, of course, but your brain is running these little simulations of the future all the time.
And here's the really brilliant part. As long as your brain's prediction is right, the light stays green, you cruise on through, you don't notice a thing. Your conscious mind is never bothered. Why? Because your brain is an efficiency machine. Its main goal is to save your precious attention for when things go wrong, for when its predictions fail. It only flags you when there's a surprise.
Now, this isn't just some weird quirk about driving. This is the fundamental way your mind works. It's the operating system for your reality. And scientists have a name for it that explains pretty much everything, from how you see to how you learn.
It's called predictive coding, and the key idea is this. Your brain builds these complex internal models of how it thinks the world works. Then, and this is the crucial part, instead of just waiting for information to come in, it projects its own expectations out onto the world. So what you experience as reality is mostly that projected simulation.
In other words, your brain is fundamentally proactive, not reactive. It's always trying to be one step ahead, constantly guessing what's coming next based on everything you've ever experienced. It's not just responding to the world, it's literally creating your experience of it. Okay, so if the brain is just this big prediction machine, what happens when it gets something wrong? Well, that's where the real magic happens. That's how we learn, and it all starts with surprise. We tend to think of learning as, just collecting facts, like downloading files into your head. But with predictive coding, real learning is a physical event. It's a deep, structural rewiring of your brain's models of the world. And the trigger for that rewiring is something called a prediction error. This is that moment when the world doesn't line up with your brain's simulation. The green light suddenly turns yellow. That's a prediction error. It's the mismatch between what you expected and what actually happened.
Now, when your brain hits one of these errors, it has two main tools to fix it. The first one is called assimilation. This one's easy. You see a breed of dog you've never seen before, but it still barks and has 4 legs, so your brain just slots it into your existing dog folder. No big deal. But then there's accommodation. This is when the old folder just breaks. You see a whale for the first time. Your brain might try to call it a fish, but then you learn it breathes air. Your fish model is now wrong. You're forced to create a whole new category, mammal. And that is serious mental work. You know that feeling, right? That jolt of surprise when something happens that just doesn't compute? That is the feeling of your brain being forced to accommodate. It's the sensation of your worldview, your mental model, physically reorganizing itself in real time. It's literally the feeling of learning. So this whole mechanism has some really profound consequences. We're moving beyond just neuroscience here and into philosophy, because it puts a hard limit on what we can possibly know and how we can know it. The writer Anais Nin summed it up perfectly. She said, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." Our perception isn't a clean window looking out onto reality. It's more like a mirror, reflecting our own internal predictive models back at us.
And the implications of that are just staggering. I mean, it means our perception is always limited by what we already know. It means all new knowledge is really just a clever remix of our old ideas. And get this, if you don't have a mental model for something, the raw data from your senses can be completely unintelligible, just noise. So far, we've been talking about how the brain predicts the world out there. But now, let's turn this entire idea inward to look at the biggest mystery of all, the self. Think about it. If your brain's #1 job is to create a useful predictive model of the world, What is the single most complex, most constant, and most important thing it has to model and predict every second of every day? It's self. The feeling of you, that sense of being a subject at the very center of your experience, that is also a prediction. It's a model. The sources we're looking at call it a functional simulation of the self. It's an operational fiction, a useful story the brain tells itself so it has a main character to tie all its other predictions to.
Let that sink in for a second. The deep, core feeling of being conscious, of being an I that is aware of the world, that's not a fact you are observing. It is the most sophisticated simulation your brain is running right now. Which brings us right back to the beginning, but with a whole new light. If we see the world as we are, and the we that's doing the seeing is a constantly running simulation designed to predict that world, then who or what are we really? It seems the answer is we're a story we're constantly telling ourselves. Thanks for tuning in.